My name's Bobbie. I live in the US, but I'm originally from Canada. I moved to the United States in 2005 to pursue my dance career. In 2011, I was diagnosed with a really serious illness and I needed to return home to Canada to seek treatment. It was actually for breast cancer. And then in 2019, I was diagnosed with cancer again. And Bhakti was a huge reason why I got through that illness. It really steadied my heart in a time where things were so uncertain. And I knew at that point there was really no turning back. Yeah, it was messy. It was really messy, you know, to have a disease like cancer where, you know, I lose my hair, I lose parts of my body. And that's a very real realization, I guess, of coming to terms with I'm not my body. And nothing quite like a personal tragedy to bring us. One of my teachers said to me when he met me and I had just lost all of my hair and I was really skinny and I was in the middle of chemotherapy and recovering from surgery, and he said to me, "Bobbie, how much louder does the call from Krishna have to get for you?" And I looked at him and I said, "I don't think I could get any louder." I live in New York and it's just my daughter and I, so sometimes it feels very hard. I am not my best self when I'm not practicing. They affect everything and they affect everyone. Anyone who's watching this, if you're a parent, practice bhakti. Really. Because it changes the lives of the little people we connect with. I think that without my bhakti, it negatively affects my daughter. My name's Bobbie, and I'm here at Govardhan Eco Village. I live in the US, but I'm originally from Canada. I moved to the United States in 2005 to pursue my dance career. And at that time, I knew nothing at all about Krishna consciousness in any way, shape, or form. I'm here at the Govardhan Eco Village as part of a 300-hour teacher training program with my teacher, Raghunath. And I was fortunate enough to bring my daughter along with me. She's 6, and her and I live together in upstate New York in the United States. I first came to yoga in the early 2000s as a way to supplement my dance career. I came to it really physically first for the asanas and in hopes to make myself a little bit more balanced. And I noticed right away that my mind felt different and my heart felt a little bit different. And then in 2011, I was diagnosed with a really serious illness and I needed to return home to Canada to seek treatment. It was actually for breast cancer. And during that time, I practiced yoga with my parents who still live in Canada. We practiced at a really small studio every day. And it really made a really big impact on my life. And I took a yoga teacher training at that time. And after all that was over, I returned to the United States where I was dancing professionally and I was a pastry cook and I had a very busy life. But yoga definitely had left its mark on me. And then in 2013, I met Raghunath at the Bhakti Center in New York City, and I felt something very different than I had in my asana classes, and I wondered really what it was, and I came to find out a couple of months later that it was bhakti. And I still didn't really have any idea what that was about, so I started to study with Raghunath and was very captivated by the way that just a little bit at a time he led me closer and closer into the world and the community of bhakti yoga, and eventually closer to Krishna consciousness. I started to travel with him to India in 2014. I was fortunate enough to go to Rishikesh, Haridwar, and Vrindavan, And my life has never been the same. I traveled again with him in 2016, and then again in 2017, and then I came back to India in 2019 after the birth of my daughter. And then I came back again last year after COVID. But I guess if I should backtrack a little more, throughout the last, I would say, 8 to 10 years, Bhakti has become more and more important in my life. And then in 2019, I was diagnosed with cancer again. And Bhakti was a huge reason why I got through that illness. The love of the devotees, the love of my teacher, the love of the community, my dedication to hearing kirtan, going to kirtan. It really steadied my heart in a time where things were so uncertain. And I knew at that point there was really no turning back. Yeah, it was messy. It was really messy. You know, one of the things that I have learned from my teachers is that, you know, we aren't the body. And then to have a disease like cancer where, you know, I lose my hair, I lose parts of my body. And that's a very real realization, I guess, of coming to terms with I'm not my body. And during that time, I was able to hear Bhagavatam classes every day. And a friend of mine, I was a little bit too sick to travel to a kirtan with Madhava Prabhu. And he sent me the recording. And every time I went to the hospital, I would listen to that kirtan and listen and listen and listen. And I think there's really nothing quite like a personal tragedy to bring us. One of my teachers said to me when he met me, and I had just lost all of my hair, and I was really skinny, and I was in the middle of chemotherapy and recovering from surgery, and he said to me, "Bobbie, how much louder does the call from Krishna have to get for you?" And I looked at him and I said, "I don't think I could get any louder." But I was so fortunate to be surrounded by the care and the love of people within the devotee community, but also to be able to feel the lessons that this disease was teaching me without being angry about it. And I don't think I would have had that if it wasn't for this practice at all. And after I woke up from my very intense surgery, you know, I had messages from my friends when I opened my cell phone, but one of the first things that I saw was a recorded kirtan from Germany that my friends had sent to me. And while they were chanting, they would pass the phone around and all tell me how much they loved me. And that, with the backdrop of mantra, was really, really powerful. And it was really hard, but I felt so anchored in this practice and so supported by it that it was really actually a very, very special time. And other people that I talk to have so much anger and so much bitterness for the lesson that disease teaches. And I'm really fortunate that people around me wouldn't let me get bitter. They would really just keep me very, very high and hopeful. And I don't think I would have really gotten through it the same without it. And I was able to pass that on to my family and my friends. And it's actually a very beautiful time, as hard as what it was. Well, life now. I ran into Ranaswami Maharaj the other day at the Goshala. And I mean, what a fortune to be able to have his presence. And he just looked straight at me. And he said, "Bobbie, just be happy. That's all I want for you, is just be happy." And I live in New York, and it's just my daughter and I, so sometimes it feels very hard. And because I forget that it doesn't have to be so hard, that part of it being hard is actually my choice. And when it's hard is usually when I've forgotten to see the divinity in every moment, that I've lost that connection to Radharani or to Krishna or to like sort of the play, the cosmic play that's going on in my life. So when I remember it, life is so precious and it's so beautiful, and it's a miracle that I'm even here. So for me to even take a moment and waste a moment on anything but the beauty and but the mercy is such a disservice. The present moment, life is incredible. I think the one that touched me first, that really got me curious about bhakti, what first drew me to the Bhagavad Gita was second chapter in Bhagavad Gita, when they talk about the soul and the way that the soul travels from body to body, that never was there a time that we didn't exist, nor will that cease to be. And that teaching came at a really, really important time in my life. And it's helped me through moments of great, great despair, is that we are eternal beings. And that if we're lucky enough, when someone leaves their body, if we're lucky enough, we'll meet them again in this life. And that teaching, I think, is probably the one that affects me most on a day-to-day level. Another is that it's better to do our dharma than try to do somebody else's dharma and do it poorly. So to really connect with that and to do our duty fully in this life that we're given. I'd say those are my two that are coming to mind straight off in the moment. Yeah, we live in such a time where so many people are angry, sad, anxious, depressed. And I think, living in a world of quick fixes that we want, I have friends and students that say, well, that practice works for you, but I can't meditate and I can't stick with something and that's not me, that doesn't work. And I think the practices under the big umbrella of yoga are for life. And if we stick to them and we commit to them and we practice them, we can't, they see us through the darkest of days. I think the one that's had the most impact on me is kirtan, because of the sound vibration changes. I can be in a terrible mood and I sit down to my harmonium and my day changes. Or I hear a lecture and just the wise words of a great soul changes my day. So my teacher talks about what we put in our eyes and our ears and our nose and our mouth, what we put into our senses affects the way we operate and the way we perceive the world. So if we can have the discipline, if I can have the discipline to do that on a regular basis, then my world is different. And so that's me passing on what my teacher says, because it's made a difference in my life. The practices of yoga, physically and spiritually, I'm not nice without them. I am not my best self when I'm not practicing. They affect everything, and they affect everyone. Anyone who's watching this, if you're a parent, practice bhakti. Really. Because it changes the lives of the little people we connect with. I think that without my bhakti, it negatively affects my daughter. With it, I'm softer and I'm sweeter and I'm kinder, and I remember that I want to parent her with confidence and a consciousness that is higher. So it affects everything. I was fortunate enough to come back to India last January for the month as part of the teacher training with Raghunath here at the Govardhan Eco Village. And it was such a pleasure to bring my daughter here because I have such an affinity for this place, and to be here with Radhanath Swami is so special. And we're here again. So It's a real fortune to be able to come here to the source of yoga and to be humbled by the source of yoga and to study and to dive deeper and deeper into bhakti, and also just to feel the support not only of the community that I know in the Western world, but when I come here and I meet people from all over the world, and the way that people from here, from India, are so warm and they're so welcoming and they're so kind. I'm so grateful to be part of this world and part, on the path with others, walking closer and closer to Krishna. So I'm very grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to do this interview. Subscribe to this channel, Wake Up and Shine, for more lifestyle tips, thoughts about yoga, philosophy, life. Subscribe. Wake Up and Shine. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.